Hi, Facebook and YouTube, and hello, Instagram. We are here today to talk about show versus tell. So, we're going to go through a little bit of what show versus tell is and some examples. I figured this was appropriate for Writer Wednesday because it gives you some writing tips and just gives you some help on how to know show versus tell. Now, this is a huge topic, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but I love this topic. So if I don't keep it short, I apologize. Okay, so what is show versus tell? Basically, you as a writer, when you're telling a story, you want to show the reader what is happening instead of telling them. So this can happen in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of different things to consider. Like I said, I'm going to keep this short. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview. And then if you are interested, I have some more resources for you at the end for this. You can dive a little bit deeper. But for now, we're just going to go over the basics. So show versus tell. You want to show the reader what is happening instead of telling them. And that means that you are going to describe almost like a movie. This is the best way I know how to explain it. And this is how it works in my brain and why I like to explain it this way. So if you think about a movie, you don't get to hear what's going on in the person's head, which books actually you can hear in the person's head, which is the advantage of a book, but you don't get to see what anyway, so it's like a movie. So you only get to see what's happening on the screen. You don't get the commentary of someone telling you, oh yeah, like she did this or something. It's not very engaging for the reader. So instead of, we'll just give an example. So show versus tell. If you say that someone is nervous, this is always one I like to use. If you say that someone is nervous, that is an example of telling. Because telling them that someone is nervous, the reader doesn't actually get to be immersed in the story. They don't actually get to make that judgment for themselves because readers are smart, so you have to treat them that way. And readers want to be able to engage as if they're watching a movie. So in a movie, this is kind of how I'll bring that around. In a movie, if someone is nervous, there's not a narrator that tells you that they're nervous. There's actually something that says you can read their facial expressions. You can see what words they're saying and how they're saying it. Their what's the expression? Their facial expressions, their nonverbals, I guess, their body language. So you can listen to all of that and see that happening. You can actually also tell by other characters' reactions when you're watching a movie. So the way to describe someone being nervous in showing instead of telling is to actually describe like what the other character is seeing. So this gets into point of view, and this is kind of something that I talk about as well. But point of view is important because you need to know whose point of view you're telling the story from. Sometimes it's a protagonist, sometimes you switch, sometimes if it's first person and there's just one person the whole time, sometimes it's third person and you jump around between people. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just whoever it is. So whoever's point of view, you're going to have to tell. Okay, so let's just back it up. So the person whose point of view you're talking from. Let's say you're writing a romance novel because it's pretty simple. It's just the main two characters typically. So say the woman in the romance novel, that's the point of view you're talking from. And she can tell that the guy that she's talking to is nervous. She doesn't actually know that he's nervous, but she can make that assumption based on what he's doing. And human beings, we like to make those assumptions. We are doing that all the time. Every person we encounter, every TV show we watch, everything that we see, lives or anything, we are engaging with the world in a way that allows us to make those judgments. And we want to make those judgments. That's normal. That's natural for us. That is something that we are comfortable with as humans because we do it all the time without even thinking. So we want to be able to know when you're writing a book and the girl says, oh, he shifted his weight, or he took a half step back, or whatever nervous looks like to that character in her perception. That's the kind of things you're going to describe. So that's a very, very short overview of show versus tell. But if you have any questions, that's great. You can leave me a question, or shoot me a DM or whatever on your favorite platform, and we can chat there. But basically, show versus tell is you are showing the reader that instead of a person saying that the person is nervous, you are showing them that they're shifting their weight, that they're avoiding eye contact, that they are sometimes, I mean, there's all kinds of different expressions. So whatever it is, if they're angry, maybe they stomp their feet, maybe they get red, maybe their eyes flash, maybe their nostrils flare. Whatever it is that you feel like corresponds to that person, that's what you are going to write in your book. So, all right. So we've kind of covered show versus tell a little bit. Overview. But again, think of it like a movie. What would you see the characters doing on the screen? That's what you will describe instead of interpreting. So don't interpret for the reader, because that will, in a sense, you're talking down to the reader instead of allowing them to engage in the process. And when you allow them to engage in the process, they engage with your book and they keep reading. And that is why we show versus tell, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so if you want to learn more about this topic, I have a show versus tell masterclass. I did a live on this, and I have the replay for sale. It's on my website. It is the link in my bio on Instagram, and I will link to it in Facebook and YouTube. But I just wanted to give you guys a little Writer Wednesday tip for you on show versus tell. So I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed this, please leave a comment. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining. We're just kind of wrapping up. This was a really quick live, but we did talk about show versus tell. So I will put this up on IGTV later on so that everyone can rewatch that, so they get the show versus tell tips. And it should be up on Facebook and YouTube as well once we get that done. So, all right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you listening, and we will chat later. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have some more helpful writing advice and tips. So thank you all for watching. Bye.